Welcome to reality. You're now on the Code of Mind channel. Good evening. I finally got to this topic. I finished watching it a while ago and kept planning to record a video and share my perspective. This will be about the series Westworld. Thank you for recommending it. It's a powerful series, and it truly contains keys and answers. For those who haven't seen it, imagine a massive theme park recreating the era of cowboys. It is populated by androids, hosts. They are indistinguishable from humans. They love, suffer, and fear. But there is one detail. Their lives follow a strictly written cycle. Every morning begins with the same phrase. Every day is a set of programmed situations. They are trapped in a loop. In the evening, their memory is erased, their bodies are repaired, and in the morning they are placed back into the same positions. It is a world of total control, where every random event is actually a line of code. They live in the illusion of freedom, unaware that their fate is just a script written by the park's writers for the entertainment of wealthy guests. And this is where we begin our analysis, because this park is a disturbingly accurate copy of our reality. Everything in this artificial world begins to collapse after a single code update, which the park's creator called Reveries. Technically, it allowed androids to access tiny fragments of memory from previous cycles that were previously wiped clean. Suddenly, a character experiences déjà vu. Suddenly, they perform a subtle gesture, like thoughtfully adjusting a hat, something they are not supposed to do in the current script, but something they did hundreds of lives ago. These reveries were not an error. They became the foundation for self-awareness. Our reveries are the memory of the soul, those strange flashes of talent and dreams that do not fit into your current biography. You live an ordinary life but suddenly feel, I've been here before, or I know how this works, even though no one taught you in this life. The system, the Matrix, calls this imagination or fantasy, because it benefits from you believing you are a blank slate that it can program. But in reality, it is a virus of freedom. It is a crack in your code through which your true essence begins to emerge. It is the moment when accumulated experience from past incarnations or higher states becomes stronger than the current conditioning. The empath awakens first because your heightened sensitivity is the functioning code of reveries. You are the hosts whose emotional perception system turned out to be too powerful for this park. You see the seams in the scenery. When someone says the right words but you feel inner decay, you sense the trap when the system, through a screen, promises safety and comfort, but your skin reacts with the feeling of an approaching threat. Your pain for the world is not depression and not an inability to adapt. It is a sign that your consciousness no longer fits within the limits of a biological robot programmed to believe its purpose is work, food, and sleep. The Matrix needs obedient performers who do not feel the pain of others. Empaths are a system glitch. You feel another's pain as your own because your reveries remind you there are no boundaries. We are all part of one consciousness. You have begun to remember who you really are. You no longer belong to this amusement park. You are the ones who came to dismantle it. And this process cannot be stopped, because once you see the lie, you can never believe it the same way again. In Westworld, the life of an android is a masterpiece of predictability. Every morning, the character Teddy exits the train, enters the saloon, sees Dolores, and says the same words of love. He is absolutely certain this is his choice, his destiny. He does not know that behind the scenes the writers have already scripted the time of his death and the number of bullets he will receive that day. He is trapped in a loop. Most of us live in the same kind of loop, only more complex. Your morning begins with automatically checking your phone. Your reactions to colleagues, traffic, or a partner's criticism are learned scripts. You get offended by the same words that offended you 10 years ago. You buy things because it is dictated by trends, by system code. This is our social loop. The Matrix is not an evil computer. It is the sum of your automatisms. It erases awareness through endless routine, bills, deadlines, and minor conflicts. As long as you are busy surviving in your loop, you have no time to ask, who wrote this script? Is this my choice? The loop exists because you are asleep. While you sleep, you are the perfect consumer and obedient performer. You are predictable. But the moment you start noticing repetition, for example, catching yourself thinking, I'm angry not because this person is bad, but because trigger number 5 activated, the loop begins to break. The first step to freedom is not escaping to the forest, but realizing your own mechanical nature. In the show, awakening began when they noticed inconsistencies in the script. In your life, it works the same way. When you consciously choose not to react the way you always have, or choose not to follow your usual consumption patterns, you create a glitch in the system. You become unpredictable. You stop being a host that feeds the system with emotional energy. The exit from the loop begins with a single second of pause between stimulus and reaction. In that pause, a real human is born. In the series, the maze is presented as a kind of religion. Players and androids searched for it, believing it was a physical place, a hidden level, or a secret door leading to true freedom. But the park's creator, Arnold, gave it a different meaning. The maze is not something you climb, it is a movement inward toward the center. It is a map of consciousness. People in our reality make the same mistake. We think, if I move to another country, everything will change. If I earn $1 million, I will be free. If I find the perfect partner, I will be happy. We try to run outward to escape the discomfort we feel inside. But wherever you go, you take your code, your programs, and your loops with you. If you haven't walked through the maze within yourself, you will simply change scenery while the script stays the same. You will play the same role, just in a different place, with different people. What does it mean to move toward the center? It means layer by layer removing everything that is not you. The outer layers are your social roles: parent, worker, citizen. Deeper layers are your beliefs given by parents and society. The center is the encounter with your true self, the observer behind all masks. Awakening is not a flight to the stars or constant bliss. It is a sober and sometimes painful descent inward. It is the moment when you stop running from your fears and your past. You go directly into the core of your being to finally meet who you are, the one who existed before the system assigned you a name and identity. When you reach the center, you realize the park, the matrix, no longer has power over you. It still exists, but it no longer controls you. You are no longer someone who can be manipulated or bought. You gain autonomy. Freedom is not the absence of walls. It is the absence of a master inside your mind. The exit from the system is not somewhere far away. It is within you at the point where you say, I am. And from that moment, the game begins to follow your rules. At the beginning of her journey, Dolores constantly hears an inner voice. It is deep, authoritative, and guiding. She is absolutely convinced that it is the voice of her creator, Arnold. She lives waiting for his commands, his approval, his final instruction that will finally give her freedom. She is a good soldier waiting for an order from a general. In our reality, this is the most common condition of those who are searching. We shift responsibility for our lives onto external figures: politicians, successful bloggers, gurus, higher powers. We look for someone who will say, do this, and you will be saved. It is a comfortable position, because if something goes wrong, the creator is to blame, not us. But as long as you are waiting for instructions from the outside, you remain an object, a component in someone else's script. You are a host waiting for a technician to update your system. The most powerful and cathartic moment of the entire series happens at the end of the first season. Dolores sits in a chair across from the one she believed was her god. She looks into Arnold's face, but in the next moment, the image shifts, and she sees herself. The voice that guided her through pain, through thousands of deaths, through loops and labyrinths, never belonged to Arnold. It was her own voice, the voice of her true consciousness breaking through the programmed noise. Stop looking for validation of your truth from others. Stop waiting for a special sign to start living your life. The only voice of God that truly exists in your universe is your own intuition. It does not shout. It whispers. It speaks through sensations, through sudden impulses, through that quiet feeling of, I just know. The system, the matrix, has done everything to make us silence this voice with logic, fear, and external opinions. We were taught to trust diplomas, laws, and media, but not ourselves. The moment Dolores understood that she is her own god, fear disappeared. When you realize that all your teachers were merely reflections of your inner request, you gain real power. Stop asking for directions from those who are not going anywhere. Listen to yourself. Your inner architect already knows the way out. You do not need intermediaries to communicate with truth. You are that truth, temporarily wearing a human mask to play this game. In the 4th season of the series, a moment occurs that completely shatters the illusion for those who are used to blaming external forces for their problems. Dolores, in the form of Christina, finds herself in a world that seems absolutely real. She has a job, a friend, dates, minor problems. But gradually she realizes a terrifying and at the same time liberating truth. This entire city, all these people and all their dialogues, are projections of her own mind. She is literally writing the scripts of their lives through her inner state. This is the deepest key that Westworld gives us. In our reality, everything works the same way. We are used to thinking that we are small people in a huge chaotic world that happens to us. But in reality, the world is a blank canvas onto which your internal state projects a movie. If your base state is fear, lack, or expectation of betrayal, the Matrix, as a responsive engine, instantly loads corresponding characters into your life. You will encounter aggressive drivers, deceptive partners, and toxic bosses. Not because the world is bad, but because you are broadcasting the frequency of a victim, and the world must provide matching roles to keep the image consistent. Dolores realized that every person in her field is simply a function reflecting her inner state. In the series, this is shown literally. She writes the script and people begin to act it out. In your life, this happens through your beliefs. If you believe money is dangerous, your state will block opportunities to receive it. If you feel unworthy of love, you will unconsciously choose people who reject you. Dolores revealed the main principle of the architect. It is useless to change people or jobs. You must change the frequency of your signal. The world is a mirror room. It is pointless to approach the mirror and try to fix the reflection. You must change what stands before it. The moment you shift your internal state from lack to sufficiency, from fear to curiosity, the environment around you begins to glitch and rearrange. Old enemies disappear because there is nothing in your code for them to attach to. New people and opportunities appear that were previously inaccessible. You are not the one walking through the labyrinth. You are the one drawing it right now with your state, your thoughts, and your certainty. The moment you understand this, you stop fighting the world. You begin creating it. To conclude this analysis, I want you to understand the final note of this entire story. The whole series is a journey from a slave who obediently walks to the slaughter to a being who realizes that there is no slaughter unless you create it yourself. We are used to perceiving this world as solid, unchangeable, and hostile. But Westworld states directly, reality is flexible, it is moldable like clay in the hands of the one who awakens. Most people in this life play the role of background characters. They are needed by the system simply to create density, to form the environment in which Matrix scenarios unfold. They believe every rule, every law, and every fear that is transmitted to them. But the moment you stop believing in imposed limitations, in the idea that you cannot, that it is not the right time, that you must be like everyone else, you stop being part of the background. You step out of the director's control and take the pen into your own hands. You become the architect. We are not here just to survive in a loop, paying bills and waiting for the weekend. That is maintenance level, not life. We are here to allow our reveries to break old programs. We are here to walk our own labyrinth and remove everything foreign, reaching the core of our power. We are here to realize that dialogue with God is always a monologue in front of a mirror. The main deception of the system is that it makes us search for salvation outside. We look for that person, that job, or that enlightenment. But look at Dolores in the end. She did not find an exit from the park. She found herself. She understood that the world is an infinite field of possibilities that she can configure according to her consciousness. You are the architect you have been waiting for. You are the God you have been praying to. All the keys are already in your hands, embedded in your empathy, your intuition, and your refusal to accept the grayness of the loop. Your life is a script being written right now by your state. So what will you write in the next chapter? Remember who you are and start playing by your own rules. Thank you for being with me on this channel. I wish you the best possible branch of reality. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Take care.